You can say the sun is shining if you really want to. I can see the moon and you see me softly.
Two Afghan teenagers gamble with their lives on a deadly trip from Pakistan to London in BBC Films' BAFTA-winning tale In This World, next Sunday at 9 on BBC Two.
So we got 4 tickets now, have we?
Yep.
I'll go with the Aston because see you later, alright? Give us a fellas, man. See you later.
Keith, go off! Dav's gone off and watched the whole game with the Aston. You're being weird with me. And now we've lost the game.
Wrexham take on Cardiff City, and you can see it live in Match of the Day Wales, Wednesday night at 6:50 here on BBC Two Wales.
Welcome to Ready, Steady, Ruck. Take a man in a kilt with a scotch, a Frenchman with a flag and a perno, stir nicely, and you have Rugby Special from Heriots Rugby Club in Edinburgh. 20 years ago, Scotland beat France for the Grand Slam. How times change. England hadn't lost 2 internationals in a row at Twickenham for 22 years, and not for a million years had there been a wind like the one in Dublin yesterday, while it's been party time for St Patrick's Day in the Premiership. Well, I have to admit that the last time I was in this clubhouse was the night after the World Cup semi-final in 1991 when England beat Scotland. So, anyway, our guests this evening are one of the great Welshmen, Jonathan Davies, and arguably the greatest Scotsman of them all. There he is, as a member of the Bay City Rollers back in the 70s, and here he is now, Andy Irvine. They could maybe have done with him today. You have to say, actually, that as far as the pre-match entertainment goes at Murrayfield, there is nobody that does it better. It's just when the game kicks off, things sometimes start to go wrong. The big dilemma for the Scottish team today was how on earth were they going to find a way of preventing France marching on towards a potential Grand Slam.
Stay on here!
Philly to Michelak. Looking for try and El Horga wrapped up by Simon Webster, the Edinburgh wing. And maybe we'll see the French in attack for the first time.
They've got numbers.
And they've got the breakthrough. Brewis out wide to Mania, who loves playing against Scotland.
Patterson will be disappointed with that. He lined him up and should have made the tackle. Gets on the outside. Watch this, he comes across. Should have made that tackle.
Ball's out.
That's a wild pass. And Jacobson needed to be on hand to tidy things up, but they've lost 10 metres unnecessarily.
I think it's a turnover as well.
Out of it, no! Out of it!
There it is. Pape. They've got men over. Back inside to the fullback, Nicola Brusque.
Stay on.
It's slow ball, and it's given Scotland time to rearrange their fortress. Michelak. Back to that man we've been talking about, Yannick Josian. And it's a penalty. Penalty against Scotland. Offside. And it all really came from that horrific pass back in towards the Scottish 22 to absolutely no one in particular. And 3 more points for Dimitri Yashvili. He is kicking the ball sweetly at the moment. talk about staying positive in the Scottish camp is going to be tested now. Here's Simon Taylor inside to Lee. Driven in by Yashvili. And, well, it was Derek Lee with the hit, and he's going to get a yellow card, is he? He is.
That's very good refereeing. Derek Lee comes in, commits a very dangerous tackle. Go and have a cup of tea, Derek.
You can't have that, okay?
On halfway, Cussiter, one last blow for the Scots. Picked up on the half volley by Phillip. This is Henderson, who was neatly on hand. Patterson, White, burst through, Jason White, up to the 22. Best we've seen of the Scots so far, and they've saved it for the last knockings of the first half. Still they go on. And for almost the first time, Murrayfield gets behind them. Cussiter, Patterson, Henderson again. Oh, half thought about the overlap, but the ball was not forward. Gordon Bullock popped up in the line, but that will do. But, well, at least there's something encouraging to take with them to the dressing room. Scotland scrum under pressure in their own 22, and they've lost it. Picked up by Yashvili. Toulouse.
Manage is over.
Yashvili. This is try, has Josion outside.
That is great centre play by those two. Absolutely superb. Again, a great scrum by the French pack. Disrupted Wales and scored a try earlier in Cardiff. But watch the feet of Try. When he gets the ball, he stands the defence up. Here he goes. Bang, stands up, drags 13 Phillip in. And Jazwan just hits the hole. Great centre play. And that's the reaction.
Just 7.5 minutes and one match away from their fourth Grand Slam in 8 years. Bernard Laporte's looking for a second in 3 years. And here's Betson, who's been instrumental in those Grand Slams, as has Dominici. What a powerhouse Betson still is at this stage of the game. Still they go on, cut back inside. Bonaire was there, and Josion will have a second try.
Just watch the angles they cut out wide. Just watch it from this angle. Great break by Betson. They're all running onto it. And there's the angle. He cuts inside. Arms through the tackle. Plenty of men on the outside. Jazwan scored, and there's the reaction once again.
Into the final 60 seconds. Is there one last hurrah? Can they avoid the blank at the end of the season, which might end up in a whitewash? They're almost there. They've never been closer in 79.5 minutes. The French defence will be equally determined. Here's Blair, held up just short. Taylor's there as well, and we're going to have a look. I think it was Taylor and White combined. It'll be interesting to see.
You there, Dave?
Well, I'm not sure. It's a tough call. I don't think you can give it. I don't think you can give it because you can't see it.
Okay.
In international rugby, you're not going to break teams down off first phase every single time. You've got to put them under pressure and accumulate the points, just like France did today, and they played with great experience, and when their opportunities came, they grabbed them, and we didn't.
Well, that was the first time in 26 years that Scotland had failed to score a single point in a home international fixture. And Andy Irvine, how would you sum up the Scottish performance today?
Well, obviously, we didn't play well at all. What disappointed me was that there was no real punch in the back division at all. We won quite a bit of ball. It wasn't particularly good ball. A lot of it was slow. But there's just no threat at all out wide, and our handling let us down. You know, we're not a particularly quick team, and we're not an elusive side either. We have no great dancers or jinkers, and therefore, if you're going to penetrate, your handling has to be absolutely spot on, your support has to be there, and you've also got to vary your game. You've got to try scissors, dummy scissors, and come in off different angles. We didn't do that today. France defended well, but in some ways we made it easy for them.
Well, before we sort of pour more salt in the wounds of Scotland, let's talk about the French in a positive kind of way. I mean, how good were they, Jonathan, and especially behind the scrum? If Scotland lacked penetration, how good are these French backs?
Well, Andy, just commenting, you know, there wasn't an overlap. What happened was they just stood a couple of defenders up and they were ball watching and they got behind them. It was as simple as that. And I thought that France was in second gear today. They could, you know, if it was a World Cup semi-final, it would have been 50 or 60 points, unfortunately. But it's great feat there. But watch number 13, Philip. He just watches try, which is not his man. He's got to leave the inside centre, get him, and just watch his own man. Didn't watch him, and he cut the angle. It was an easy try. This one again, no overlap there because Webster had his man marked. And they drift too early. They drift too early, and you know, as a kid, you're told run at the arm, because you know your strength and pace with the angle that you cut should beat the inside man. So defensively, they were you know, poor on those occasions, but they defended for such a long period because they couldn't keep the ball.
When Scotland did have the ball, you say they lacked any threat. I mean, we could have picked any number of examples to show how they went sideways more than went forwards. I mean, when you watch examples like this, what do you want the Scottish players to do that they're not doing?
Well, the problem is, and I don't want to be cruel to the players, but we don't have any players with any real pace or any real ability to beat a man. The best runner that we have, I think, is Chris Patterson, but he's so close to the scrummage and to the line-out that he's not getting very much room from the fly-half position. But, you know, we do lack people with real pace and ability to beat men. Too often we're happy to set up the tackle, we run straight at the opposition, we're happy to recycle, but you're never going to penetrate.
OK, well, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the floor here who would like to offer their thoughts on the ills affecting the Scottish game. Maybe there's somebody with an upbeat message as well. So what do you think?
No, we didn't seem to be able to pass that along the back line, come onto the ball at pace, do the basics. Do we think, is that a problem with the coaching, or is that a problem with the confidence that maybe the back division have?
Quick thought on the coaching, Andy?
Well, I wouldn't blame the coaches, because when players get to that sort of level, they should be able to do that sort of thing. And I think the players themselves will agree that their skill level today was not up to scratch. It wasn't a particularly windy day, it wasn't a wet ball, the conditions were good. In fairness, I don't think France were all that skillful today either. I don't think that France really played as well as they can. You see the game yesterday between England and Wales. It was a completely different level and a completely different pace.
I think with Scotland, if you know technically you're not good, why you overcomplicate things? Because they did a few run-arounds and, you know, dummy runners, they get caught behind the gain line. If you got two big centres and not technically good, what you do is just carry ball over the line and get your targets for your forwards.
OK, we've got a point here. This gentleman here. Yes, sir.
We're sitting in a club here which tonight we know has supplied scores of internationals to Scottish rugby, including KGF Scotland, the first attacking fullback, all the Milne brothers, Simon Taylor, and none of us here in Heriots, and I believe thousands of Scottish supporters cannot understand how our Gordon Ross has not been allowed to continue to play at standoff.
All right, well, it's a continuing debating point about where Chris Patterson should or should not be playing. There is somebody else in this audience who perhaps knows a thing or two about Scottish rugby, and that is, you might recognise him, Bill McLaren. It's great to see you here, Bill, tonight. Well, how would you assess? I can't understand how you haven't been knighted either, Bill. But anyway, listen. How would you assess the Scottish performance today?
I thought it was a pretty good performance, really, considering all things. Line out pretty good. It worries me a little bit that Well, the way Scotland performed in some of the ways, it worried me a little bit, but generally speaking, I thought it was quite a good performance. It worries me a little bit. I was going to say that we don't attack so much nowadays from set-piece ball, from scrimmage and line-out. I can remember the olden days when a French side, for instance, would peel the line out 3 or 4 times during a game, and it provided an extra element, if you like. I thought that today's game missed out a lot of that kind of stuff.
OK, Bill, it's lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Let's leave Scotland. I'm sure we'll come back to that subject in just a moment or two. But go back to yesterday at Twickenham. To put it in some kind of historical context, the last time that England lost 2 games in a row at Twickenham, the Falklands War was just breaking out. So Ireland had done it. Could Wales follow suit? Surely not.
Robin McBride towards Michael Owen. Owen gets one hand to it. Colin Jarvis goes back, turns on his back, and has been turned over. Dawson now waits for the ball. A plastic bag floats into play. Ollie Barkley can't get past the pincer movement of Stephen Jones and Tom Shanklin, but through comes England with Will Green with Ben Cohen, one-on-one with Gareth Thomas. The try is awarded. Massive strength from Ben Cohen to make the line.
Cohen's got a lot to do here. I think you've got to come forward at full-back there. If that tackle had been made 3 or 4 yards earlier, then he wouldn't have got there.
Ollie Barkley, first kick at goal. Beautiful strike by Barkley. England 7 points up. Good work, Robin McBride. Gareth Cooper, numbers for Wales. David Jones, Rhys Williams, Gareth Thomas. Just for a moment, the overlap was on there for Wales. They perhaps drifted towards the touchline, but they're still in possession. Jonathan Thomas. Gareth Cooper, Michael Owen. Mark Taylor tries to hand off, slips the ball to Brent Cobain. 4 metres, Wales from the England line. Michael Owen with the drive. Penalty to Wales.
Just for a second here. Draws his man. Cohen just, it's there. Just a simple 2-on-1. Another case of the man releasing the ball, not drawing his man. An exciting start to this game.
Danny Grucock, tackled by Michael Owen. Good scoop off the ground, and here goes Ollie Barkley. Another little half break by the Bath outside half. Jason Robinson.
Roll away, 10.
Gareth Llewellyn with the tackle. Will Greenwood. Grucock. Offload from Grucock, and another one. Greenwood to Josh Lucy. Chris Jones in support. The final offload. It would have been a brilliant try, but that final offload didn't find its target. Formidable stuff from England, though. Passing out of the tackle. It's the most dangerous type of pass there is. Lawrence Delalio goes one way, switches with Matt Dawson. Referee gets in the way. Play on. Wales infringe at the ruck. I think the Twickenham crowd sense that England are back in control. Another roar for Ollie Barkley. He's had a very composed first half. Stephen Jones, long cut-out pass, Mark Taylor again. Taylor's through. Didn't pass to Rhys Williams. Wales, though, still have the ball, and they have red shirts stretched across the field. Gethin Jenkins, must be a try. Duncan Jones to Gareth Thomas. This to equal the Welsh try-scoring record. Gareth Thomas moves up to 33 tries to equal Ieuan Evans' record, and Wales are right back in this game.
Well, no response at all there from the Welsh coach Steve Hansen, but he must inwardly be bubbling from that. It could have come earlier, actually. Good hands here, and a prop involved as well, and he doesn't need to draw anyone. See Lawrence Delalio there, he's laying the law down. Everyone is making it quite plain, not happy.
Steve Thompson puts boot to ball. That could be dangerous. It only feeds Shane Williams. Williams accelerates. Josh Lucy tracks him down. Rhys Williams goes across field. Duncan Jones takes the tackle of Danny Grucock. Gareth Thomas, it's on here for Wales. Gethin Jenkins, Colin Jarvis outside him. Jarvis cuts inside. He overran Gethin Jenkins slightly. Gareth Cooper, Stephen Jones. Gareth Llewellyn in the second row. Rhys Williams, oh, what a sleight of hand there. Wales are clear through Shane Williams. Williams, Robinson tracks back. The pass for Mark Taylor. Wales have scored. What a second half for Wales.
Well, that's fantastic play by Wales. Superb hands out of the tackle. Lovely sleight of hand to set away Mark Taylor. And well finished in the corner. But England only have themselves to blame, you know, because that came ultimately from a very loose kick from Steve Thompson, the hooker.
Wales have held them up at the initial stage. Barkley, Josh Lucy, Lucy for the line. Wonderful cover tackle by Shane Williams. Jason Robinson. Shanklin makes the tackle. Phil Vickery held up, 2 feet short. Matt Dawson waits. Dawson goes himself. Stephen Jones made the tackle. Ben Cohen, they're holding up. Ben Cohen with a touchdown. Great bit of skill by Ben Cohen.
Well, eventually, the 3 or 4, I think Phil Vickery comes in on the burst there, then Dawson takes it later, and Cohen takes responsibility. And whilst he's lifted, there we are, he's got 2 against him, and he gets it down. Yeah, well finished.
Oh, charge down, brilliant pick-up, Jason Robinson. Dwayne Peel, but here goes Robinson. Against Shane Williams, Jason Robinson. Fantastic run by Robinson. Gareth Thomas gets back. What a run by Jason Robinson, the wizard. Julian White has come on and has made a difference. That scrum has gone through 90. They have to use it quickly. Delalio with a pickup.
Stay onside, Red.
Dawson. Cohen. Try for Joe Worsley. Had to come. England's set-piece dominance tells at the end. It's going to be a comfortable victory margin. But what a scare England had and how they came through it.
Yeah, in the end, the much vilified pack who underperformed under great pressure against Ireland have come up ultimately with the trumps.
Well, the overriding emotion among England fans out here on the concourse is just one of relief. They know they came agonisingly close to seeing their team lose for the 2nd week in a row, but with England seeing off the Welsh challenge, they now know there's all to play for in Paris.
We had to win this game. If we hadn't won that game, goodness knows what happened. So we've won now. And, you know, I think you'll see the real England tap up in Paris next weekend. We've just got all this out of our system now.
I would suggest that England are really, really struggling for an attacking game. I don't think their backs are running anywhere near as well as Kyle Woodward would want.
I think he'll be pleased with the last 20 minutes, but I think he'll be very, very displeased at the most of the previous 60.
The win today was a hugely important sort of psychological barrier for them to get through, and they've got through in what was a very tight game.
Yeah, you're not going to go on the pitch and cream sides, we know that, you know. It's a tough game against Wales and Brisbane, and today was tough as well. But there was periods in the second half when we got our game together, you know, that we looked to get back to our old selves.
I think the guys are pretty disappointed. You know, it's reminiscent of that evening in Brisbane when we thought we'd done really well, but we knew that, you know, against such a world-class side, you've got to do even better.
After the Scotland game, I think people got beyond themselves. They thought, right, this is the re-emergence, the renaissance, and so on. And there were some sharp lessons around the corner.
They are progressing, but not quite sure how long they can keep on progressing without nailing down some sort of victory.
As we've said about this team, it's a process that we have to go through to grow and mature, and there's learning curves all the way, and slowly but surely we're getting where we need to be.
You can just tell from the change in that was a big, had to win the game, and the French game now will be just a fantastic night of rugby, especially for England.
I think, in all honesty, France will be very, very warm favourites to win in Paris, and I don't think England have the wit or the adventure in the back division at the moment to last with them.
Well, we'll talk later on about what the future holds for next weekend and England's prospects of winning at Stade de France, but it was a fantastic second half, Jonathan, and we've had this conversation for the last heaven knows how many weeks about how so many matches are being resolved in the set piece, and the line out and the scrum, and that's where Wales really suffered again yesterday.
Yeah, against France, France attacked in the scrum, but yesterday for some reason our line out went pear-shaped, so it was international rugby. You can't play on scraps of ball, especially against the world champions. We've got to get our basics right, and you know, Mike Ruddock has already said that line out and scrum will be his priority, and the rest then will come off that. And I think you know, that is the way forward, because we can score tries. We've got very talented players throughout the park, and once we get our basics and the set piece strong, you know, we will improve. I think beyond recognition.
Chris Hewitt there said that England's back play was witless. Would you say that's fair?
No, I wouldn't say it was witless. It's perhaps not as good as it's been in recent games, but you know, they still scored a couple of good tries. I'm sure they would like to have scored tries from further out rather than just barge over from a metre short.
Don't you feel they keep popping back inside the whole time instead of going wide?
Well, I don't think they use the pace that they have, because in fact I'm not even sure they're picking the best side, because you know they've got the likes of Simpson Daniel, who's still to come in, and he's an absolute flying machine. But you know, you've got to give England credit. Wales are a good side, and they've got a lot of pace, and they've got a very good defensive line-up, Wales, and yet England still managed to win. I have to say, I thought it was a cracking game. Two very, very good sides.
Ollie Barkley, who needs Johnny Wilkinson?
Scotland. I think he played exceptionally well yesterday. I think with Paul Grayson, he's a safe bet. He'll do the basics right for you. He'll kick the goals, and you know that's what England wanted after Johnny. But that was his first kick. I mean, he just struck it so sweetly. He took the defence on. He plays with Tyndall every week, and I think Tyndall is a crucial part of their side. He's got lovely feet. He knows when to take people on. And if he's not a bad choice, third, I think he is, not fourth choice. I think Johnny Wilkinson, Charlie Hodgson, and Barkley, and yeah, he's a debut that he should be proud of.
Listen, everybody's going to say, wasn't that an amazing run by Jason Robinson? But I know you were shaking your head when you watched it, saying he should have done better. It should have been a try.
Well, it should have been a try. He did the difficult thing. He beat the whole of the Welsh team apart from the fullback. But there was lots of support behind him, and he actually should have found support there. If you look at this, I mean, that's a tremendous run, and he's got fantastic acceleration. But if you just look at the support, he's got three men with him, and one of them, Josh Lucy, one of the fastest men in the team. That ball should have been shipped out. He didn't read it properly.
How lucky was that? He charges a ball down, it goes to Jason Robinson's hands.
He didn't look.
If we had scored there, the game was won.
He also wasn't looking at the manual. You should carry the ball in two hands.
I know we do have a Welshman in the audience. What consolation do you take from yesterday?
Yesterday, for the first time in a long time, I was quite proud to be Welsh again. I thought we played well, but it's just that missing element that we have in 10, 20 minutes in a lot of games we played, where we just seem to go to pot and seem to forget we're playing. I was just wondering, where is that? What are we doing wrong?
Nice to see he hasn't lost his accent.
You see it?
Well, it is an awful long time ago, but you may recall that, what is it, 5 and a bit months ago, England won the World Cup, and if you want to see a special, real fly-on-the-wall, behind-the-scenes look at some of the secrets of Clive Woodward's world, then you can see it on television on Wednesday night, BBC One, 10:35, and if you're watching the repeat, obviously on Friday, then you'll either have seen it or you won't. So anyway, let's go back to yesterday at Twickenham, and here's what the real experts had to say about England's victory.
It's a good game, Could have got it, but they didn't.
Ollie Barkley, man of the match. Man of the match in my opinion.
AUS, next to the referee's name, usually means Australian, but he was Austrian. Downhill skier, expertise was really in the bobsleigh.
Great victory, great comeback against the Irish, 31-21, and now, we beat the
Ben
Irish.
Cohen was the best.
I'm sorry, but I don't agree with any of that.
Second half really brought the game to light, and
we were very, very lucky.
I don't think we were lucky. What do you think, Chris?
No, I think England played fairly well. They stumbled a little bit during the game. Hello.
Robinson did one run.
The Wales didn't blow it. We were tactically more astute.
Look out, Italy. Let's have it. Come on,
Mike, brother.
Come on.
And that's. I think that's enough from Chris there.
So, good night.
Thank you.
Good night, Hollywood.
Hollywood.
I'm ashamed to say that I play alongside that ginger-haired bloke. What a rugby intellect he is. Now, back to people who actually know how to play the game. Let's go to Dublin yesterday, and the weather conditions were truly indescribable. You can't perhaps see from those pictures, but I think you're going to see a flag. I mean, look at that. How can you possibly play rugby in those conditions? Well, the answer is you don't really.
That's a good take again by Easterby from a fine throw by Shane Byrne. This is better from the Irish back. Here they come. There's options on both sides. There's a little narrow strip. And there's Byrne now. Look, this is deja vu. Can he thunder off as he did against the Welsh? He's certainly having a go. That's gone loose. Penalty against the Italians. Kelvin Dicker must be thinking about reaching for a card if they're persistingly offending.
No, I was just going to say that, Jim. Yes, if he can single out an individual, and if he can't, he's just going to penalise the next player. So.
He's got over straight then on the green side.
Well, he has done, I think. It's Ongaro is going to go. Festuccio, quick throw taken by Malcolm O'Kelly, goes to the line. He's got the try, his 6th international try, more than any other Irish second row forward on the day when he equals the Irish record of the great Willie John McBride. What a moment for Malcolm O'Kelly.
Italy really didn't know what was going on there. Poor communication, and I guess with Carlo Festuccio having come on and not the regular hooker, I suppose you could blame that.
Palmer picks up. Brave little Peter Stringer holds him up. Griffin. Well kept in by Murphy. Now Gervin Dempsey. Horgan is there. Darcy's out wide. Here goes Horgan. Great run by Horgan. Easterby in support. Stringer. O'Driscoll. Interesting change of direction by the skipper, lovely dummy. O'Driscoll, is he going to break the record? What a try by O'Driscoll! And he reclaims the Irish try-scoring record.
That was tailor-made for Brian O'Driscoll. A little bit of space to run that weaving, jinking run, just finding themselves having to round corners and forwards. O'Gara simply hasn't got the pace to cover that.
Darcy, John Hayes. Good driving by the heaviest man in the Irish pack at some 20 stones. Pick up and drive once again by O'Callaghan. Still there for Ireland. A try now would really cause the Italians so many problems. Stringer, O'Gara, nicely done. Shane Horgan, wonderful stuff. What a sublime pass from Ronan O'Gara.
Well, the build-up by the forwards just sucked in so many Italian defenders. The overlap was on there. They must have had about a 5-3.
Still there for Italy. There will be advantage, yep, penalty. Taken quickly by Griffin, this scrum half. Oh, he's got away from the first tackler. Well, now that was a little bit of an interesting tackle. I think somebody might well be spoken to for that one. And Brian O'Driscoll has got himself a yellow card. Taken quickly by the Italians. This is Stoica. Easterby and Foley with the twin tackles. Griffin digs it out. De Marigny, lovely inside pass. Again, Italy in the centre of the park. Options to left and right. Nazi had to wait for that ball to float into him. John Hayes was the man who put in the tackle. Penalty against Ireland.
Well, I think they're going to have to take the 3 points here.
So Roland De Marigny. puts it right between the Irish posts, and Italy have got their first points of the afternoon. Ireland up nice and flat. Good work by Ireland. It's maybe not finished yet. Terrific rumbling run by the Irish forwards. It came back awkwardly, still there for Ireland. The ball is still in play. Referee's waiting for advantage, and I don't think there's going to be any more play. He said that's not forward, and that looks as if the game is over.
Win to Ireland, job done, and bring on Scotland.
Brian, it was tough out there for you, and obviously you did try to spin it in the first half, but it wasn't really a good idea in this weather, was it?
It just wasn't happening for us. All week our game plan had been to throw it wide to wide to wide, and you come out and you plan for something that you just can't do. So I thought, plan B worked well. We hammered away at them, and I thought our forwards again did extremely well. They did a lot of hard yards.
Well, the weather was extraordinary, almost, as I say, impossible to play any good rugby, but that victory for Ireland does still give them a chance at the Championship, depending upon what happens next weekend at the Stade de France between France and England. And apart from the weather, which did obviously dominate the way that game was played, and Italy actually played pretty reasonably in the second half. They actually dropped the ball over the line, a la Ben Kay in the World Cup. The main talking point was an extraordinary start to the match when Italy did this. Now, Jonathan Davis, I know you've been puzzling about this for the last 24 hours or so. What was going on here? This is the start of the match.
I know what they were trying to do, and Andy will enlighten us because he's actually done this. But he was just trying to short kick off, get a scrum, and then try and have a go at the Irish front row. But the Italian scrum isn't strong enough, so it was a total waste of time.
Go on. Well, he's absolutely right. I mean, I did the same out here a few years ago, and big championship decider won the toss, decided to take the kick, boofed it straight out, because we wanted to start with a scrimmage. We felt that we could intimidate the opposition. And when you've got the bear who's upstairs having his 20th pint by now, it worked. And we did knock the opposition back 10 yards and completely won the psychological battle. But as Jonathan says, at international level, Italy were never going to manage to do that against Ireland, and Ireland held their ground and were too good for them. So pretty stupid on the day.
All right, let's move on, because we've had two Premiership matches in the Zurich Premiership over this weekend. On Friday night, Leicester beat Harlequins quite conclusively, perhaps more so than the score indicates, and 2 tries from Jaco van der Westhuizen, who's heading for Japan, and how much the Tigers would like to hang on to him. And there was one match today as well, a full house at Reading, 22,000 for a St Patrick's Day hoedown between London Irish and Bath.
London Irish take their St Patrick's Day celebrations very seriously. This year the festivities have lasted almost a week, and it all began on Wednesday night at a catwalk event with a difference.
Good evening. Very welcome to Café de Paris. Quite a buzz here at the moment, a lot going on. Everyone's getting ready for this big fashion show tonight. Lots of familiar faces from the world of sport and entertainment. Basically, tonight's about Jared Cunningham. You probably know of Jared. He was an all-black final trialist, record point scorer for London Irish, who was sadly struck down by motor neuron disease a couple of years back. And tonight's about raising lots and lots of money for that charity, and to give him a bit of support too.
Okay, we're going to run the numbers. So models, take your celebrity rugby players. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Salsa Foundation Fashion Show 2004.
It's going to be a fun night, I can guarantee you that, but that's not really what it's about. It's about the story of a man who scored 848 points for London Irish in just 3 years. A true legend.
I lived with him when he came over from New Zealand for a couple of years, and he's a stubborn guy. Like, he will never accept anything, and you know, he's fought against what conventional people have said to him.
I get inspiration from my wife, proving the doctors wrong, my friends, sport, anything, yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, well, it's all about the awareness of the motor neuron disease, and I mean, you've seen the amount of people that are inside here. It's crazy. It's fantastic.
My word, Jill Douglas. That's how we want to see her reporting pitch side of the Scotland team.
In racing, there's been quite a few people who have been affected by motor neuron in the past. My first trainer, Colin Nash, died of motor neuron disease at the end of the 80s.
You know, I have long-term goals, like I want to run again. You know, Karen and I want to have kids. yeah, just little things that you would take for granted. Obviously, really emotional, and but you know, we raised a lot of money and a lot of awareness.
We're all just so supportive of what he's trying to do, and he knows it's a battle and it's a long battle, but you know, he's going to fight it.
All I want is people to realise that I have reverse symptoms. I want to help others and inspire others.
Jared's fight back is a source of huge pride here at London Irish, as is today's game. It's the annual St Patrick's weekend fixture, and it boasts a record Premiership attendance. More than 22,000 people have turned up to see the game against Bath, and everyone's up for the crack.
With the support here today, I'd really hope Irish do the business.
We only come in for the crack, we don't come in to win. That's the problem with London Irish. It's a very, very unstable team.
And we come here when there's only 6,000 here, not when there's 22, you know what I mean? It's brilliant. It's much more fun like this, but you can't get served fast enough.
People have really taken us to heart. Our average crowd this year is going to get near 11,000 per game, which is, you know, phenomenal. Today's a big, big day for us. It'll really, you know, shape the destiny of the remainder of our season. We need to win.
It was a perfect start for London Irish. A clinical combination from the back line, allowing Paul Saki to race over for his 7th Premiership try of the season. Bath's forwards rolled up their sleeves and powered their side back into the game, prop Duncan Bell eventually claiming the try. Bath fly half Chris Malone cancelled out a Mapletoft penalty to level the scores at half-time. After the break, it was a case of different try lines, same tactic for the visitors. Substitute hooker Lee Mears claiming Bath's 2nd try. Paul Saki fancied putting his silver boots into action once more, and had he scored, it would have been a candidate for try of the season. But quick reaction from the Bath defence, he was held up on the line. Chris Malone's huge drop goal proved to be the decisive score for Bath. Everett's penalty reduced the deficit to a point, but his chance of a Johnny Wilkinson moment went begging, and the league leaders hung on. Just. A couple of late drop goal attempts by Barry Everett. Your heart must have been in your mouth at one stage.
Well, those last two were so close, and I thought one was going to go. You know, the ball bounces your way some days, sometimes it doesn't, and today just wasn't our day.
Well, when you consider Jared Cunningham's predicament, losing a few points in the Premiership doesn't really matter a great deal, does it? But anyway, there's the Irish still in 5th place, and the Bath going strong at the top now, 6 points clear of Wasps. We have a competition for you this week, as ever. It's another real test of your rugby intellect. A pair of tickets for Wales-Italy up for grabs. By what margin did Italy beat Wales in last year's Six Nations? Was it 1, 8 or 15 points? bbc.co.uk/rugby special. If you've never been to the Millennium Stadium, then do enter, because it's just the best. It really is. So next weekend we have Super Saturday, 3 games that are of different significance depending upon what your standpoint is. The big match, obviously, France against England. I thought we'd take a straw poll from this wholly unbiased audience here at Heriots. How many people in the audience here tonight would like to see England win in France next week? Yeah. And how many would like to see France beat England? I somehow thought that was going to be the answer. Andy, given what you've seen over the weekend, how do you see that game going?
I actually fancy England. I think that it'll be tough for them without Johnson and Wilkinson, and obviously home advantage for France. But I actually think England have got too much firepower up front, and they've got a bit of pace in the backs. I don't think they've played particularly well this season yet, but I fancy them next week.
Well, they only have to win by 8 points, and they will be the champions. Jonathan?
Yeah, I think neither side have played to their full potential. It could be an absolutely fantastic game. England need to step up, and we know France will want to win it because it's Grand Slam and the World Cup semi-final. But I just feel at the moment France just might edge it.
The only other factor to be considered here is if Ireland beats Scotland by 50 points, you can't see that happen, can you?
Well, it depends if it's a nice day or not.
No.
I think Ireland will comfortably beat Scotland, but I don't think they're going to do it by 50 points.
All right, well, thank you very much to the guys here. Thank you very much to everybody who's been fantastic hosts here at Heriots this evening. Don't forget, next weekend it's Wales against Italy, Ireland against Scotland, France against England, the decider. And if it comes down to a kicking competition, I suppose the question is, can England bank on Barkley? Good night.
What will happen if we ignore the warnings? If, Wednesdays at 9 on BBC Two, it's your wake-up call.
America will never seek a permission slip to defend the security of our country.
They think every girl dressed like this might be a suicide bomber.
Open your eyes to the world. A unique global view of the news. Weeknights at 8 on BBC 4.
To find out how you can get BBC 4 on cable, satellite and now Freeview, call 08700 10 10 10.